Hey superstars, welcome to the Get Rich Without Being a Bitch podcast, and I am your host Vanessa for this journey. We're going to be challenging some stereotypes, shattering glass ceilings, really looking at what it takes to live richly and to design a business that's going to support the life that you really want to be living. I'm going to be sharing lots of tips, tools, and strategies along the way, and I can't wait for you to join me on this journey. Hey superstars, welcome back to another episode of Get Rich Without Being a Bitch. And I'm going to be sharing with you today my favorite proven strategy for getting in front of champagne clients. So I'm actually rolling back, right, the curtain today, peeling back the layers so that you can, understand more about how I've built my business. Frankly, I want to give you some tips as to how this can work for you too. Now, before I dive into this today, I want to share with you that there are two very different mindsets about growing a business. There is the passive way, which is I'm going to put things out there and hope something will resonate and people will come to me and ask for help. And then there is the proactive way of growing your business. If you know anything about me, you will know that I am definitely in the other camp. I'm all about proactive. And there are many strategies out there, but I find a lot of them become too passive and we hope and pray and we're not in control, right, of the strategy, which means that we can't influence the outcome. So when I first moved to the States, which is now, 12 years ago, and in fact, I'm just chatting with my videographer here behind the scenes and she's smiling at me. Wonderful Taylor. And she has been doing my videos for years. She just reminded me that we met, and I think it was something like 2013. So I came to the States in 2012, probably around 2013. I was speaking on stage at an event. I think it was the annual event of an organization called SCORE. Don't ask me what SCORE stands for now. It's very well known. She's even shaking her head. She goes, I don't know either. But I came to the States and I needed to get known quickly, certainly within, let's say, geography, my local market, because I was a nobody, right? How do you get started again? Because I had a successful business back in Europe when nobody knows you. I literally had no business card, no website back then. I didn't even have a cell phone in the early days. I mean, it was like so many things I didn't have that I had to literally build from the ground up. And most importantly, I had zero, and I mean zero, connections here in the States. I had moved here. It was a massive move. That's a story for another day. That was me following my dreams. I felt very, very called to come here. Felt very called actually to come to the desert in Arizona. Again, great stories for another day. And I knew nobody. I wasn't moving for family. I wasn't moving for friends or connections. And I was starting my business from scratch. So I had to go back to what works, what worked for me back in Europe, what also was aligned with my natural strengths, and use that. So I can tell you honestly, there was no, let me build my new website. Let me start to post on social media. I don't know how active social media was back then. I think I wasn't very active on it anyway. There was none of that. I think I threw together some very, very cheap, if I remember rightly, business cards. I think, it was before digital, right? So again, we had paper cards back then. I had them printed out at the local something or other, just so that my name, company name, phone number was on it. That was my only tool I had. No leave behinds, nothing else. And as Taylor was just reminding me, I thought I've got to get in front of people and I've got to get in front of people quickly because listen, I put everything on the line. I needed to play full out. I brought my family to the States. I'd made them a promise that this was going to be this wonderful life we were living. I had to make it work. And I knew full well I had a sense of urgency. I had to make it work quickly. So I did a lot of networking across town just so that I could frankly figure out where were the groups, where were the things that I could get involved with, right? Just start to work out how things worked. I definitely kissed a lot of frogs during that time. A lot of people sold to me. A lot of people were overly pushy and salesy. And I was like, I don't know how much I can do of this. But then I started to tap into, where can I speak? How can I get in front of larger numbers of business owners quicker? Which is where we were talking about just before we started shooting today, that one of my very first speaking engagements was at an organization called SCORE. And Taylor said to me, she said, the minute I heard you speak on stage, I said, I want to work with that woman one day, right? Amazing. And she still remembers that. Well, here she is now behind the camera. Like, how cool is that? So again, this is the power of speaking. And one of the reasons I love it is it gives us instant credibility. There's such a difference between networking in the room. And again, I still believe that's important as well, but being at the front of the room. The minute you are at the front of the room, you're automatically elevated into this expert status in the eyes of the participants. Now, you've got to make sure that you've got a great message, that the content that you're sharing is really, really helpful as well. Otherwise, those things can fall flat quickly, right? Of course, we need those things. And you also need to be able to make an offer. When you are speaking in the room, one of the reasons that many women will say to me, yes, but I've been giving these talks, I've been doing these things, and they haven't been translating into business or new leads, is that most women don't know how to make an offer, right? We call it making an offer from stage, from the front of the room, from speaking, but we need to invite people into those next steps. And I always made sure that I was never going to speak in organizations where I couldn't make some kind of an offer. And the reason being, frankly, it wasn't so much about me. It was more about the audience. I feel like it's a big disservice to the audience if you have somebody that's got great tools, a great methodology speaking, and then there's no way to invite people into a next steps with you. I feel like that's a disservice to the participants. And I truly believe that when we are the speakers, we need to clearly lay out those next steps, right, for people so that they know what they can do next. So that was how I got started. I then started to host some of my own events. And again, it was always using speaking. So one of my very first events was, by the way, these were people that I'd met through networking, some people that I was like, oh, these are fairly cool people. I would like to continue the conversation with them, and I'd like to invite them to something. And so I hosted my very first boardroom style event. Truth is, I think I probably had 6 people attend that event. My husband was probably number 7. And then I think I bribed somebody that I met in the early days, and we were more friends. And I was like, please come and support me. I know that this isn't really for you, but I'd love to have 8 people in the room so that it looks full. And again, I use that as an opportunity for networking, for sharing some great content about how I could help them as business owners to grow and scale their business and start to get more clients, which is very much the focus back then. And that one meeting, I think, translated into, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but I remember it translated into over $20,000 in new revenue. Right? So we don't need large numbers to speak to. We just need the right people, and we need to be brave enough to make that offer. So I really encourage you to think about, how can you get in front of your ideal audience? The truth is, and especially as a woman, I think this is one place that we have an advantage. Most stages, most rooms are heavily male dominated. There are far more male speakers out there than there are women speakers. And the slightly more savvy organizations know full well that they need to have better representation and they need more women at the front of the room. And the truth is as well, for people that are organizing regular events, especially if they're running chapter events or associations, they've got to keep their members engaged. They are always looking for new content and new speakers, right? It adds value to the membership. And the chances are you're listening to this or watching this today, and you've got something really valuable. You just need to get it out in front of more people. Now, again, I'm giving you some of these tips here. Mine was free speaking. I wasn't being paid to be on those stages. Now, I am paid today as well. I do both. The majority is actually still free. I'm very happy if I get some paid speaking gigs, but here was the reason. It was easier to get free. It was easier to say, hey, I've got something really valuable. Who is your audience? I'd love to bring, something of value to them and share this. This is the topic. These are the key takeaways. Because I was giving it for free, it also meant that in return, I wanted to make sure that it was okay to make an offer. I'm okay with giving my time, my content, my energy away for free. But the trade-off is I want to make an offer. And I want to make an offer so that the right people in the room can be served fully if this is speaking to them, right? So that was the way that I approached it. And so many times I was able to A, get those free speaking gigs, and then B, make an offer, either an offer into a freebie that could be something that was just really, really valuable. So I was generating new leads and then able to nurture them. And over a period of time, they might well turn into clients and or invite people into an immediate conversation. And the truth is, it's really not rocket science, right? We have to do it to become more proficient and more comfortable with it. But it's really a fantastic way to get in front of audiences. Now, again, where I've built on this today, and again, it's still speaking. So again, sharing my top strategy here is I am also willing to pay myself to also get in front of certain rooms. So there are certain organizations that are really aligned with the work that we're doing. And again, they're looking for experts, but they're also needing some sponsorship money. So when everything is aligned and I can really work closely with them, I'm willing to become a sponsor. But my strategy is I'm going to be a sponsor and I must be speaking as well. So whatever that needs to look like, because I don't want to be a sponsor with just a logo. I haven't found that works. I want to be able to get my message out in front of the room and again, be able to make an offer. And then I'm really, really happy to sponsor and support those organizations. And frankly, those two strategies together, sometimes they go together. It's speaking and sponsoring, right? Sometimes it's just speaking. Sometimes it has been paid speaking. Most times it's been free speaking. Those two strategies have generated me millions of dollars over the years. Millions. So I want you to think about this for you as you are planning your next steps, your strategic growth, really looking at where you're spending your time and energy and what would be your highest value activities that would really generate the most revenue. What might speaking and or sponsoring do for your business? Because it's available to you right now. And again, it doesn't have to be the big numbers. I shared with you how, 8 people around a boardroom table and 2 of them, one of them was my husband, one of them kind of twisted his arm to be there. So it was really 6, generated over $20,000 for me. A lot of it is having the boldness to do it as well, right? And just take that first step. And as always, if you are looking for help to grow and scale your business and you'd like to know how we can help you, please go to businessgrowthacademy.com. You'll find a way to connect with us there, reach out to us, get on our calendar, book a session, right? So that we can find out more about your goals, what's getting in the way, what you're most looking for help with, and to see if we're a fit. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Can't wait to hear from you as well as to what resonated most today. If you reach out to me on social, you send an email in, I promise you, I will send you a personal response. Catch you soon.